Always remember to wash your hands regularly with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Remember to wipe surfaces often. Only leave home if you are healthy. And wear a fabric mask in public covering your mouth and nose. Don't touch your eyes, mouth or nose with unwashed hands. And cough or sneeze into your elbow or use a tissue. Keep a distance of 1.5 meters between you and other people. Let's all work together to stay safe.
Thank you for joining us today. This masterclass is a continuation of Module 6 and 7. If you haven't already, please warm up with Module 14 before we get started. We don't want to strain our voices. Before we start singing, are there any questions you have about the piece?
How do I approach singing through the clicks in the libretto so that the sound is not interrupted?
Great question. We have to make sure that our mouth is already in the correct position for the vowel that follows the click. For example, in kuqonde ngqo, the mouth has to be in the correct position for O. Shall we try it?
Kuqonde ngqo.
Perfect.
Another thought I had about the piece is that I feel as if I'm running out of air. Because the melismatic passages are a series of notes sung to one syllable, how do I make sure I have enough air for the passages without getting too tired to finish the rest of the piece?
Even though we want the melismatic passages to sound like they are in one breath, it is not always possible to do so. We have to take short, quick breaths at the right places so that the phrase doesn't get disrupted. Ideal places are just after the tied notes in the phrase from bar 14 to 19. If we only need to take one breath after the tied A in bar 17, works very well. If we need two breaths, however, after the tied G in bar 16 and after the tied C in bar 18, would be ideal. Let us have a look at what that will sound like. Very good.
Every melismatic passage in this piece is different. How do I use this approach even if the phrases aren't the same?
Here's the method we can use in this piece as well as others. We have to identify a pattern in the passage. This would be a group of notes that sound similar but at a different pitch, such as in bar 50 and 51. We can breathe between these patterns and reinforce the first note in each pattern to disguise our short breath intake. Remember though, we do not have to breathe between each and every pattern, but write down where you would love to take breath so that you practice in the same place every time. Let us try now with the passage starting in bar 54.
Izigodi, Ziyolelezelwa.
That's perfect.
This is very useful because some of the melismatic passages repeat the same words. How do I make sure that the judges and audience are still interested?
You know, when you have repetitions, it is a good idea to have different emotions and colors behind the words. That way we get to experience the music differently for the second time, and we keep the interest of the audience and judges. So, how do you think we can use our posture and facial expressions to convey this?
Maybe the first time the libretto is sung, it can be with awe and amazement. I can use my hands to gesture the landscape I'm thinking of. The second time, it can be with thought of God's glory. I can interact with the audience as if I'm seeing beautiful aspects of nature. I can open up my stance and posture to represent the amazement I'm feeling.
These are great ideas. Also remember, in a lot of Baroque music, such as the trumpetral sound from Handel's Messiah, when we return to the first musical theme, we are actually allowed to add some flourishes. These are passing notes or slight rhythmic changes. Luckily, the sheet music we are working from has incorporated some of these for you. However, you and your teacher can come up with other options if you want to do so. I'd love to see how you start and end your performance.
Izigodi, Izigodi, Ziyolelezelwa, Izigodi, Izigodi, Ziyolelezelwa, zonke izindaba namaqhuma kuqonde ngqo, kuqonde ngqo, kuqonde ngqo, kuqonde kuthi ngqo, kulolongwe konke, kulolongwe konke. Kuqonde ngqo,
Wow, what a performance! I hope you've enjoyed the masterclass. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask your teachers. Thank you for joining us.